to the STLK in the UTA Jazz podcast. I'm Conjo. This is Paul, as I hope you guys would know by now.
They should know it.
They should know, but we're back. It's a Monday.
Yeah, I love Mondays.
I love Mondays because we get to talk basketball.
Off of a Jazz win on the weekend.
We talk basketball every day.
Yeah.
If you were to check me and Paul's text threads,
it's like once every 3 hours.
That even seems a little bit high. To put the over-under at about an hour and a half of some kind of basketball content
and they're
being
not
mentioned.
Long convos. They're just like, did you see that? Yep, cool.
Like it's short and sweet, but like it feels like there's an entire conversation happening.
Just flowing.
It's awesome. So the Jazz are coming off a win.
A big win.
An OT thriller.
An OT win that I feel like didn't happen a lot the last couple of years.
No, and I feel like if we did, with Quinn Snyder, it was usually a loss.
Yeah.
I remember there being a stat that we legit were horrible in OT.
Yes.
But I feel like when we're in OT now, we win. I think we've had 3 this year. Lost 1 to an unfortunate foul that we talked about.
Yeah.
And the other one we won. Yes. Yeah. But, that was a great win. But before we jump into, this game, I had a question for you, Paul. I want, every once in a while we throw in a hot take or something. So, this might be like a hot take segment that we start doing at the beginning. Pineapple. Does it belong on pizza?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
It's a fruit.
But it's perfect.
Do you put apples on your... I do like a pizza with apple. Do you put apple on most pizzas?
No, I don't put any... I love pineapple.
Great.
I'm not putting any other fruit.
Try it. Wait. You're not putting any other fruit?
Any other fruit. But I'm putting pineapple on. You shouldn't
put any fruit on your pizza.
Well, pineapple belongs. When you can put it with ham, it's great.
I'll tell you what, I've never had pineapple and ham together. I had it on a pizza once when I was like 6, and I said, that's awful. I don't want it.
Something I will give you is it's warm.
I'm not doing a warm pineapple.
A warm pineapple, unless it's grilled at some Brazilian steakhouse.
No.
Count
me out.
It's not that great, but on a pizza with some mozzarella,
the texture of that's got to go crazy bad.
I personally love it. I just had to bring that up.
Okay, well that is a hot take. Does pineapple belong on pizza? Probably not.
I'm saying yes.
No.
Paul's saying no. Feel free to figure that out, you guys, for yourself. But anyways, great win.
Great win.
So there's one notable key factor in Wow.
Yeah. Glad you brought that up.
That was special.
Yeah, it was.
If you didn't catch on to that, Keyontes George.
Yes.
I like, anytime there's anything about him, I just comment or post on our Instagram story, just the key emoji.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
He's awesome.
I love that emoji.
That's
because
actually
it's key.
replaced the jazz, like the trumpet.
Oh,
emoji.
It's way better than the trumpet.
I love
now.
the key one now.
No, the key is perfect.
I can't wait to. Oh, yeah.
He had his first 20-point game.
Correct.
And then he also had 6 rebounds, 6 assists.
Triple-double watch.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah,
Paul, beginning of the season, predicted that Keyonte would be the first Jazz player to score a triple-double in the regular season since 2008.
I texted you
Carlos Boozer.
Their first, Carlos Boozer. I love him. During the first start for Keyonte, it was at Indiana, and I said, dude, he's on a triple-double watch. I promise you, he's going to break it his rookie year. And every game, he's at least 10, 5, and 5.
We got to bring out that text.
I would love to throw it up right here.
Let's stamp it.
I'll find it right after this, and we're going to timestamp it. I'm going to toss it up.
Was it a text? Was it on the pod?
It was a text. I remember it vividly because I was taking the trash out, and it was raining, and I said, I shouldn't text him this, but I want it to be digital footprinted.
I mean, what a good husband. Taking the trash out in the rain.
Yeah, well.
But he's still thinking about Keyonte George.
I was watching the game.
That's special. That's special. So, Keyonte was great. Another great player.
Yeah.
Omer Yurt-7.
Oh, my goodness.
Where did that come from?
I'll tell you where it came from. Before Conjo started this whole thing, we did a mock podcast.
We were like, is this going to work?
Let's just
are we
toss
be
some
good at
audio
this?
together and see what we sound like. It was good. I spent about 15 minutes, maybe more or less, on Omer Yurt-7.
just talking about it.
Conjo said, hey, talk about our key additions. I'm like, let me tell you, Yurt-7, he's the man. And I threw out his high school stats, and I was like, this is why he's going to be good on the Jazz. He had not seen the floor.
It had to have started feeling like a waste of time.
Yeah, I was like, man, all that work I did back in July, man,
for an off-screen pod.
No one's ever gonna hear this.
No one's ever gonna see.
We might toss it up at some point. he was the play of the game. He might have been the player of the game if not for Keyonte.
Yeah.
He played incredible.
It was great. I mean, we've played the Blazers 3 times already.
Too many times. 3 too many times. I'm sick of them.
Like we have to play somebody else. We've played the Grizzlies 3 times, the Blazers 3 times, the Suns twice. Are we going to play any other teams? Who is scheduling these games?
Did you say the Pelicans?
The Pelicans.
We played them back-to-back nights. Like,
and so I'm just like, are we AIing the schedule?
Are we? I genuinely think, and I could be wrong, I know the MLB still has a human doing it. Do we have a computer doing the NBA schedule? Like, do we just toss this into ChatGPT and say, like, make 82 games, 4 divisional, 2 non-conference?
They just didn't make it specific enough. Break the teams up a little bit. You know?
And don't put them all at the beginning.
Don't put them all in the same
Jazz
month.
have the 5th hardest schedule going into the rest of the year. It bodes well for tanking season. It doesn't bode well for anything else.
No. So let's kick it to Paul's play of the game.
Omar, you're at 7. Is it any surprise?
It's not. And the best part about it is I was hearing rumors that it's 2 plays.
It's 2 plays. I think you saw that on Twitter somewhere. Someone leaked it last night.
I think it was leaked that Paul's play of the game today was 2 plays.
Back-to-back plays. So this one comes off a Keyonte drive, which I love how Keyonte's being, especially in this situation. A minute left, tie game. Maybe gets fouled, maybe doesn't.
Bang!
And you're at 7, yams it. Next play, not
Yams
the next play.
it.
2 plays later, final possession for the Blazers. Look at that defense.
That's textbook.
Straight up.
I mean, that's what they teach you.
Do you know how hard it is? You actually do. How hard it is to get that much force driven into your chest and keep your arms straight up.
And only land, what, a foot
Yeah,
back?
like let's see where he landed, man. Like he didn't put his arms down once.
Literally, any high school basketball coach is...
They were salivating.
They are literally salivating over that.
I mean, the amount of times in high school I heard, don't bring your arms down. And 10 for 10. I'm either swiping at the ball or I'm bringing my arms down.
There's a rumor that this might be used for basketball camps in the summer. This specific play.
I would go one step further. I bet coaches are using this for their games tonight.
Yes.
Like, hey, look at Yurt 7. He knows his role. He doesn't do too much.
The Milwaukee Bucks have sat down Giannis Antetokounmpo and saying, are you looking at your 7's defense here?
And Brook Lopez just shaking his head. He's like, come on, Giannis, you know how to do
this. This is how it's supposed to be.
The defense is the best part because the refs are begging to blow the whistle here.
Oh, my
They're
gosh.
looking for
I
anything.
mean, one hand, even a couple fingers down,
yeah, he
there's
does
a
that.
foul.
They're like, oh, they hacked him. Like, no, he doesn't do any of that. John Collins gets to the rebound.
Or even like we played pickup last night. There's a specific player that would eat that up as a foul.
Oh, yeah.
Anything they can get to get that
any
a
body
foul.
contact, whether the arms came down or not.
There's a foul
I know
there.
he's listening to this too.
Yes.
And truth be told, he did get fouled on a few of them. I know you disagree. He was getting
Truth
beat
be
up.
told.
He was getting beat up.
Hey, but moral of the story is moving forward, if there is anything looking like that, you're at 7. Even if there's a finish, even if there's something, it's the other way.
It is the other way.
We're calling that an offensive foul now if it's perfect defense.
Yes. Anyway, John Collins makes both free throws. I couldn't be more excited for him. He had a great game. He really stepped up.
Let's rule it back just one more time.
Yeah. Should we just watch the play in full
Let's just
here?
watch it in
All
full
right,
here.
Here we go. I'm just going to stay quiet for it too.
It's impossible. It's just too good to be true. Man. Oh, man.
It's just great.
That's special.
Really special.
And then this.
Are we going to talk about Simone Fontecchio's defense?
We did last pod.
It's been incredible.
And it's been awesome.
It just continues to be incredible.
I don't care what people say. He's been great. Yeah, so that's Paul's play of the game.
That's fun.
No, that was a special segment. I'm really happy of how that went. So you know, we wanted to do this is a fun show today. Yeah. We've got lots of things to talk about. We don't play until Wednesday.
Only 2 games in total this week.
So like Thursday's pod will recap 1 game. So we're trying to, you know, get a little creative here and throw some segments out there and, you know, see what people think. But Paul, you're a 5-star in high school.
Right.
Where are you committing to? Based off of stigma, based off of reputation, where are you committing to play basketball for probably 1 year?
No question. It's Duke.
It's Duke, right?
It's Duke. They're the team to go to.
They're the team to go to. And I was thinking about that because, you know, they just lost again this week.
Yep.
And each year I feel like they're losing.
In the net rating, they were like 40th.
Yeah, like I just keep like, I'm like, okay, Duke this, Duke that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, well, why? What reputation is it that they have?
They've been good in the tournament historically. Really good. I think they missed the tournament very rarely.
Oh, I think of Mercer every time I think of Duke in the tournament.
Oh, is that the 15th? And CJ McCollum. Was he Mercer? He was a different one. Mercer was Jabari's year.
Yes.
Was that Jabari's year? Either way, Lehigh and Mercer.
Yes.
It was my 6th grade year, my 8th grade year. I remember that vividly.
I remember my bracket just being shattered.
I had Duke winning it both years.
But I look at Duke and I'm like, okay, well, they've got Christian Laettner, Grant Hill, you know, guys that JJ Redick, you know, guys that were Seth Curry, Austin Rivers, you know, obviously Jason Tatum, Zion, RJ Barrett. But like a lot of those guys, I'm like, okay, they were good in college.
Yeah. In college.
Yes. A lot of it didn't translate to the NBA. And then I started putting it into comparison to Kentucky,
who I feel like has always been pitted against each other. Different conferences.
Always pitted against each other, but Kentucky never gets the same rap it does than Duke, right?
No, never.
But Kentucky, let me name a few guys for you.
Sure.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Cousins. John Wall. Rajon Rondo. De'Aaron Fox. Devin Booker. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
I forgot
Jamal
about him.
Murray. Bam Adebayo.
Did you already say Sixers?
Tyrese Maxey.
Tyrese Maxey, thank you.
That is a lot of talent.
Do you know a big one you forgot? Jody Meeks.
Yes.
Here on the Google page.
Jody Meeks.
That was important to toss him in there. Like, he had a great floater.
Yeah, dude. It is crazy how many more guys in the league there are that play for Kentucky than Duke.
Right now, that are good.
Yeah, so I'm like, why is that? Is it because Duke was so good back then and Kentucky wasn't? Because there's not a lot of old Kentucky players.
That's the other thing, though. It's like we're young and we both would have picked Duke.
Yes.
So it's like, why
even knowing this information, I'm like, how many more
if I get
players
a text
go there
right now from Coach K, hey, I would love to see. I'm great.
Yep.
First flight.
I'm going.
He's like, we'll pay for it. I'm like, don't even stress.
I'm
on my way.
Like that's what's so weird to me.
I'll drive. I'd even drive to go play for Duke.
Like, what is it?
I don't know. And there's so much talent. Julius Randle, by the way, just saw his name.
That is another great one from Kentucky.
Yeah. But again, there's so many good players that come out and are good in the league. It's not a coincidence anymore. And I'm not sure what it is. I've never been recruited by either school, so I'm not sure the pitch on why Kentucky can say, hey, we've thrown 28 guys in the league the last 2 years versus Duke, and people still choose Duke. But it's working for Duke.
Like, it's working for Duke. You know, Cooper Flagg, #1 overall recruit, goes to Duke.
He played here in Utah.
He did.
I'm not sure if he went to that or not.
I did, actually.
Okay. I was out of town.
It was a fun game. But, like, and then Frank Jackson, obviously, out of Utah, then goes to Duke.
I'm not sure if he had offers from Kentucky and the other Blue Bloods.
I mean,
but
sure.
He picked Duke very quickly.
Yes.
Like, the second they offered him, he's like, press conference at 7.
Yep.
Like, sweet.
I'm like, okay. Yeah. Well, and so Kentucky's just producing such great NBA talent.
Yeah.
That is so many guys in the league. And not only so many guys, those are all all-stars.
Yeah.
Almost every single one of those players that we named is in the all-star conversation.
Yeah.
Literally every single one.
Like all of them are or were at one point in the last 5 years.
Literally all of them.
Like, they're really good. Guards from Kentucky especially.
It's crazy.
Like, and Tyler Ulis.
Tyler Ulis.
I'm not sure if you forgot about him. I know you really liked him at some point.
I did love Tyler Ulis. And him and Booker were homies. And then also the Harrison twins.
Yes, they stuck around.
Like, that's the thing is, like, Duke's got Tatum, like we said, Reddish, Barrett, whatever.
Yeah.
Zion.
They always have a top recruiting class.
But that's like it. They've got like the top guy, and then like Kentucky just has everybody else.
Before Jason, like, okay, so in the last 15 years, take out that Jason Tatum recruiting class. Who's the best guy to come out of Duke, you think?
That's a tough.
The thing is, they've won like championships in that span.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know if they've won championships. They've been in there.
Jaleel Okafor.
But like, that's the thing. His hands were big. Like,
that's the thing is he came to the league and nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like, is it development at Kentucky?
I'll tell you what. When
maybe they're staying longer. There's more one and dones at Duke. We might have to look into that and touch on that a little bit later.
Kentucky has a handful of one and dones as well.
Yeah. So that's what's.
I don't know.
Again, this is an open conversation.
Like, I would love to hear why they're better.
I would love to hear what people think about that. But literally, I saw that and I couldn't not bring it up with you.
I'm glad you did, because there is a stigma that Duke is better, but. Again, are they like at producing talent? Probably not.
I couldn't not. And the reason why we're bringing it up is, there's a lot of college basketball going on. We're watching Creighton, Stephen Ashworth.
Great game yesterday.
Utah native. He'll be on the pod a couple of weeks. BYU is playing out of their minds.
Number 2 in the net rating. I'm not sure what even net rating is. But
there's a lot of different ratings, right? Ken Pom, I don't even know what that is, right? So I'm like,
it's an important one.
Yeah, well, I'm just like, there's just so many.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy. And so I was like, you know what? I wanted to look into that, and so I thought I'd bring it up. I'm really happy that we brought that up.
Yeah, me too.
So now we're going to turn this to a little fun segment.
Please.
And, you know, we were talking about old Jazz players. We were naming a few. We did some content for TikTok that was fun, a draft of NBA all-time busts. Yeah. And we got thinking about doing a draft for Jazz players based off of likability.
Not skill.
So not like John Stockton to Karl Malone, your obvious number 1 and number 2 overall picks.
Yeah.
This is based off of likability. This might be biased towards our generation.
I'll tell you what, I didn't watch any Jazz basketball before 2003. So like my list is going to have 0 players from before then.
I have 1 player that's on my list.
Yeah.
That's from around that time.
Okay.
That might get a chuckle out of some older people.
Well, what probably happened is after he played, he was probably still prominent in the area. Is that... I don't know who it is.
No.
Really? Okay,
no.
then let's just jump into this. Who's your first pick?
He's not my first pick, but like I said, he's on my list. But my first pick, thank you for turning it on me.
Yeah.
Because I have to take Ronnie Price.
Yeah. So you knew that was going to...
Well, I'm glad you deferred. I was going to take the first pick anyways because I knew you were going to take Ronnie Price.
I'd rather give it away than have it stolen.
See, it's the season of giving. It is December.
Yeah, you're right.
So thank you. That is my Christmas present. Paul has gifted me the number 1 overall pick that I take Ronnie Price.
So I used to ref high school, or not high school basketball, but basketball right after high school. And I actually refed Ronnie Price's son. He didn't look like Ronnie Price, but Ronnie Price was there. So I made the connection. And after the game, I was a terrible ref. But after the game, Ronnie pulled me aside and was giving me some really good pointers on reffing of all things. And I was like, he was already one of my favorite Jazz guys.
That's so Ronnie.
I know. And I was like, that was the coolest experience. I remember calling my dad. And I was like, Dad, you wouldn't believe this.
UVU legend.
Hit a half-court shot for the win at one point, I think.
UVU legend. And I mean, outside of Utah, you don't know Ronnie Price, even though he played for the Kings and the Lakers.
Yeah.
But,
he was fun.
That lefty dunk over Lamar Odom, special.
Yeah.
Special. Other than that, his top highlights, they're few and far between.
No.
But, I have to take Ronnie Price. I loved him.
I like that pick. I love that pick. My number 1 pick, Trevor Booker. I know what you're thinking. Was he likable? Yes. The tip shot.
That's all I'm thinking about.
City.
Yep.
Tips it backwards over him. I hope you throw the highlight up here.
That's still the craziest shot ever.
I was watching an NBA highlights of craziest shots or most absurd shots in the NBA, and it was on the list.
No, that's still one of the craziest shots ever.
It was a really good pass from Gordon, and I think it was Gordon, and I'm shocked it went in. But again, that was actually the year I broke my foot, so I couldn't play basketball, leave the house, really do anything. The Jazz won, I think, 18 games that year, but that was the most Jazz basketball I've ever watched. I was really locked into that team. So was he power forward, small forward?
He's a power forward.
Let's take him at my 4. He really good dunks too. All right. Cool.
So I'm taking Ronnie at my 2, and then my shooting guard, and then I'm drafting a 4 here.
Oh,
nope, I changed my mind. I'm taking a 3.
Okay.
CJ Miles.
Oh man, he was also on my list.
CJ Miles, Skyline High School.
Really?
I'll never forget that. Did not go to college. Skyline High School in Texas.
Why did I not know this?
Yeah. I remember that because, back in the day when they'd give you the little pamphlets every game, I would collect every single one of those.
Very Conjo light.
Yeah. And I saw Skyline High School and it stayed with me. I think it's in Abilene, Texas.
Abilene. Okay.
I'm just going off of an 8-year-old memory.
Small
there.
Town. Yeah.
So, he was awesome. So the heart he gave the Jazz, and he could shoot.
He stayed in the league longer than I thought he did. No,
that's what's crazy.
He played in 2017 for the Pacers?
He stuck around ended with the Wizards, Nets, a couple teams where I was just I didn't even know.
They're giving him contracts.
He could dunk, he could shoot threes. He was just a very likable player. I'm taking CJ Miles at my 3.
Andre Kirilenko is my 3. I have a big team right now, by the way.
AK-47.
AK-47. The way he would dominate games in every facet. How do you not love the guy?
I loved him always, and then my dad liked him less when he got his World of Warcraft tattoo on his entire back.
That's pretty cool.
I remember that was breaking news. And as a kid, I was just okay,
great,
he's still cool.
Yeah, did you not see his 7 blocks the other night? Why don't you get that
Ukrainian beast, right?
Yeah. Anyway, I like AK-47. He was really special to me.
Alrighty, so I've got CJ Miles, Ronnie Price. It feels wrong for D. Will to even slip to the 3rd round.
Okay, it does.
He's my point guard.
Okay.
D. Will is literally the most legendary point guard in Jazz history. There is John Stockton.
Yeah.
But in this generation, you can't say Utah without thinking Deron Williams.
That crossover, man.
It's just crazy. He still lives in Utah. Yeah. He is just an icon. Every kid our age had a Deron Williams jersey at one point.
Baby blue.
Literally, the baby blue one. Every
one.
single player had that.
Yeah.
Or every single kid.
Yes.
So, I mean, it just feels wrong for me to take anybody but D. Will here.
I'm going to need a defensive point guard to stop Darren Williams. I'm going to take a guy who almost soured on Utah a little bit when he airballed a shot in the playoffs. It was a corner three, a cross-court pass from Donovan Mitchell. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Ricky Rubio. Man, did I love Ricky.
Dude, everybody loved Rufio,
There were times...
Rufio was sweet.
There were times where he would like hit that mid-range pull-up and then have a sweet assist to Favors. And I'm like, how is he not a top 5 point guard?
Like, I love dogs, right? And he was a dog. Like, I think about that one fight with the Suns.
Yeah.
And then he got checked by Jeff Teague.
That was a cool one.
Like, he was always in the middle of it.
Yeah. He was the epitome of Utah basketball for a little bit.
I like that.
And I hated having to move away from him, but man, did I love him.
So with my 4th pick, you know, the guy I was talking about earlier,
Yeah.
I don't think you're thinking of him, so I'm going to hold off on him.
Yeah, you can take him in the last round. I guarantee it.
And
is Russell Westbrook a part of this draft, by the way?
No.
Okay, didn't think so.
Didn't play a game.
Okay.
Because Derrick Rose would be in that same conversation.
Yeah, he would be. Utah legends.
So, I mean, I'm having a tough... There's 2 guys I'm really deciding between here. And it feels wrong to leave one of these guys out, but I kind of have to do it.
Yeah.
And I think the guy I'm going to have to take is Mehmet Okur.
He was my center. You're stealing a lot of my guys, which is okay.
You know, I could give you him.
No, it's okay.
If I get the next 2 picks. I'll give you Memo as a trade for this pick, and then I get to go again. And then my team's complete.
And then I get my last pick.
Yes.
I want Mehmet Okur as my center.
Okay, so I'm going to take Big Al.
Okay, yeah. No, take him.
I'm going to take Big Al.
Yeah.
When he got traded to us from the Timberwolves, I was so happy. And I just loved him.
Yeah.
I loved him in center. I had his jersey. Like
that's so awesome.
Like I legit had a Big Al jersey.
That's so sweet.
Like I don't really typically have centers jerseys, but
non-star centers.
But I loved Big Al, man.
Him on the left block.
He was dangerous. He would have 20-20 games like consistently.
No, that year where I think it was the same year Trevor Booker was on the think they crossed over. Everything was just like, let's just feed him.
Yeah. So I mean, I love Big Al, and I'm putting him at the 4.
Big team. Wait, who's your 5? Oh, here it is.
Greg Ostertag.
Okay.
You have to take Greg Ostertag.
Okay, do you?
Big white guy, known for basically only playing for the Jazz.
Did he play anywhere else?
Dude, they still sell Greg Ostertag jerseys. I don't know if it's like a gag now.
I don't know.
But like you go to Pro Image, there will be an old Greg Ostertag jersey somehow, some way.
Yeah, the old generation loved him. I'll tell you that.
That's what
I never watched it.
And that's where this pick was targeted towards.
Your dad is gonna love this episode.
I had to throw Greg Ostertag in there.
Okay.
So
like
there's my team is D. Will, Ronnie Price, CJ Miles, Big Al Jefferson, and Greg Ostertag.
So I'm at a tough spot because I have my point guard, which is who did I take at my point guard? Rubio. I have my 3, which is Booker.
Yep.
I have my 4, which is Karolinko.
Yep. And then your 5 is Memo.
Okur.
So you got to take it too.
I wanted to take Favors at some point in here because the way he loves Utah.
Faves. Faves.
Man, like
he was special.
Like, okay, he was a likable player, but like the way he talked about like Utah, like, oh, I came home. I was like, man, my heart. Like, I love you too. I can't take him. He's not a good 2 spot. Although
he's not a shooting guard.
I love Derek. I have a big team. I'll tell you what, because I'm taking Joe Ingles at my 2.
That's such a good pick.
Headband Joe.
You can take that.
He was the epitome.
You know what?
Of
That's
tough.
The fact that he went round 5 is actually a steal.
He was the 10th player picked. That's crazy.
That's a steal.
He's very, very likable.
That's a steal.
I really like that he's still in the league, which is fun, still making money. He did a lot for Utah. He did a lot for autism awareness, a lot of different stuff. I think he was the one that made, or not funded, but really gave the idea of a quiet room in the arena, which is really cool.
All-time 3-point shot maker for the Jazz.
And let me tell you, I watched almost every single one of them.
Yep.
But he was special. I like that team. We're really long.
I mean, you can't say Joe Ingles without saying Paul George.
No, he's his dad, his father.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So some honorable mentions that I had written down.
Yeah.
Sundiata Gaines.
Yes.
Solely off of the game winner versus the Cavs. I also had written down Royce O'Neal.
Yeah.
He was just a great player. I really liked him.
I actually thought about taking him. If we did like a top 10, I would take him for sure.
Yeah, like I really liked him. I mean,
Donovan Mitchell hasn't even been talked about.
Donovan, Rudy, like
Rudy is so likable.
There's a lot. I mean, we could really dive. Paul Millsap.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Utah Jazz have had some likable guys.
Really likable guys, and maybe that's why we like the Jazz so much.
It has to be.
Has to be. So, this has been an unbelievable episode.
This has been really fun.
Unbelievable episode. And, we've got some fun things to announce. Next week, on the 13th, we will have another Hive podcast, which for those of you, the Hive is a separate podcast we've been doing that is specifically for special guests, special content, and everything like that. So next week, I'm throwing up the graphic later today. We will have Albie Bostrom from Thrifthood, the CEO of Thrifthood, as everybody knows, the most popular thrift store arguably in the state of Utah.
Yeah, easily.
What he has created has been awesome. Just about every Jazz player has gone through there. Mm-hmm. Even Jordan Hawkins and Herbert Jones.
They showed up in their 2-day stay when they played the Jazz last week.
That's awesome. I mean, we have away players stopping by Thrifthood on their breaks, while they come and play the Jazz.
Jordan Hawkins, by the way. I just want to put that on tape. I think he's going to be really good.
Paul is really high on Jordan Hawkins.
Like, really high.
And so, I mean, for away players to come in and do that, I think that's something that isn't very common.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was pretty cool. And so he's going to come on, share his story. We'll do some fun content, starting 5 of players that have came into his store.
That's fun.
I think that's pretty fun. Yeah. So stay tuned for that next week. But this has been...
Before we go,
yeah,
I don't want this to go unnoticed.
Please don't.
Taylor Hendricks gets his first real minutes in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, they're meaningful minutes.
I am so glad you brought this up. If you're still listening, thank you.
My goodness. He looked incredible. And then after the game, they said, how do you think he played? Like, how do you think you shot? Because I don't think he shot well. He goes, I don't care how I shot. I'm a defensive player.
That's sweet.
Chills down my spine. I said, sweet. Oh, my goodness, Taylor.
Especially when Bryce Sensabaugh comes up, we're going to need him to play defense because Sensabaugh's going to shoot.
Yeah, he's going to shoot a lot, which is fine. But I just wanted to say, I'm so happy he played and played well.
Maybe that's, maybe he plays on Wednesday and we get to talk about him on Thursday.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Because we'll be back on Thursday. Mm-hmm. So this has been the STLK in the UTA Jazz podcast. I'm Conjo. This is Paul. We'll catch you on Thursday.